So yeah, I'm Mike from Colbier, one of the founders. So there was 3 of us that started it back in the beginning of 2024. I've had a bit of a history working in different breweries around Liverpool. Before that I was selling vinyl records and playing in loads of bands and stuff. So when we started at the brewery, we wanted a bit of like a musical theme that fell into a bit of our history of like love of music and everything. So all our beers are music terminology. We don't use any like puns or anything like based off songs or anything. It's all just like things that aren't linked to anybody else, just like forte, overture, chorus, all that stuff. So before starting the brewery, I worked at Gibberish Brewery, which is gone now, Handyman on Smithdown Road, Love Lane and Carnival. Then kind of just decided it was about time to start up a brewery really, of our own. So started with my partner Vic and Stu as well, who we were friends with from back when I worked in Handyman and we lived with over COVID. Stu's worked in a lot of bars around Liverpool, so it's very good with talking about beer, I suppose. So thought he'd be a good sales guy. So yeah, Stu does all the sales, I do the brewing and packaging of the beers, and Vic does everything in between, helps with sales and helps with the brewing and packaging. Yeah, we got our keys to the place in middle of January in 2024 and started brewing by the 1st of March. Just spent 6 weeks setting up the place, digging out our own drains ourselves. We put all the tanks in, did basically everything ourselves really. Then released the beers at the end of March of last year, and yeah, it's just been absolutely crazy ever since really. Brewing really on average once or twice a week. Like I said earlier, 2,000 litre batches on average, and yeah, just getting out there. Mainly in the northwest. We do quite well in Liverpool, Manchester and Sheffield, but we've got our stuff down to the south coast and up to Scotland and exported as well. Yeah, we finished off our first year last month with winning the UK's best new brewery. So yeah, it's all been pretty cool.
I'm a co-founder and owner, but I started off kind of just helping out as and when I could. I was working full-time elsewhere, and I've recently been doing part-time, so 2 days a week. And I kind of get involved with everything, like brew days, like today, some of the comm stuff, social media, admin, packaging, kind of. When you're an owner, you just kind of chip in and do bits of everything, so yeah. Yeah, we do try and kind of create some kind of link between what the style is or like what we're aiming for, and yeah, and how it's going to turn out. Like legato, I think means like smooth, and it's like a smooth dry Irish stout. Or like, what else is there? Chorus is going to be the one that you want to keep coming back to. Like it's Colbier. Overture is like the opening, like bit of an orchestra. So that's like the opening. Yeah, track to our like brewing journey. That was the first beer that we released. So we do try and kind of link them up a little bit, but sometimes it's just words that we like. Yeah, Mike's been homebrewing, well, interested in beer for years, homebrewing, and then he started working in different breweries around Liverpool. And then in 2023, he was out of work and like looking for new jobs and things. And he'd been talking about starting his own brewery for years. So we finally talked about it and was like, should we just take the plunge? He was looking at different bits of kit online, and there were loads of auctions going. A lot of breweries had unfortunately gone under, but it meant that we could get some pieces of kit like at quite a good rate. So it kind of just started from there really. Yeah, it just kind of happened so fast, and yes, we got the keys like in January last year. We've just had our first birthday at the end of March, and that's the first birthday of us trading. And yeah, the 3 of us have always like connected over music, always gone to gigs together and things like that, so we kind of wanted music to be integrated into the brewery in some way, so we've included that in our like branding, and all of the names are named after, like all the beer names are named after like musical terms. So yeah.
So this is Colbier. We start over here with the brew house. So we've got a 7,000 litre hot liquor tank over here. So that heats up our water to around the mid 70 degrees on average. And that can hold enough for about 3 brews of beer in one go. So we try and double brew in one day to basically, be more time effective and everything. We start one brew, and then as one brew is halfway down the line, we start the second brew. So over here you can see this big funnel thing is called a hopper. So we load the grains there, and it comes down, mixes with the water, sorry. And I use this big paddle to stir it up, and then we leave it in here for about an hour. And then after the hour's finished, we transfer it into this tank, which is called the copper. And that essentially boils the wort. So at this point, when the sugar starts to get extracted from the grain, it becomes wort. It stays being wort until the yeast is pitched, and at that point it becomes beer. So in this tank, the copper, you rise it to boiling temperature, 100 degrees obviously, and it does a few things in that process. It sanitizes it, it converts certain enzymes, and also it can add bitterness as well to any hop. During the boil, will extract bitterness. Depending when you add the hops, depends what sort of level of bitterness you get, and depending on which hops you add, you get different flavors as well. So the hops added right at the beginning of the boil will be the most bitter, essentially. They're called the bittering hops. The hops added right at the end of the boil will be the aroma hops. And then around here, we've got a whirlpool tank, which is our third vessel. So normally when the wort is transferred into that vessel, that's when we start our second brew of the day. So the whirlpool tank does 2 things. It separates certain chunks of hop matter or anything like that, and also cools down. And when it's cooled down to below 85 degrees, we can get different sort of hop characteristics from the hops. So less bitterness and more of that juicy sort of hoppy stuff that people like. Then we chill down to a variety of different temperatures depending on the beer. If it's a lager, around 10 to 13 degrees Celsius in this place. It can be slightly warmer, can be slightly colder. Or if it's an ale, around 18, 20 degrees. Most of our beers are ales, but we do have a whole range of lagers that we've done in the past. In our first year, we did 37 beers, and I think 11 were lagers. The rest were all ales. Around here we've got our 6 main fermenters. So we've got 4 that are 2,000 litres, and then these 2 big ones are 4,000 litres, so we double brew into those. So 2 of the same beer will go in 2 days, and then they'll ferment together, and our core beers are made into them. So if you're thinking casks, we probably get about 80, 85 firkins out of each of these. About 40 of the other ones. We've also got a canning line over here. Most of our beers go into cask. Some of our beers go into keg and can as well. We've also got a bright tank here for conditioning. So we do most of our carbonation in there. And then we can from there.